Government to reconsider visa on arrival for Australians to boost tourism. Court rules Ati Wobiro is Western Province Governor. And Winnie William wins Women of Courage Award.
This is National EMTV News with Lorraine Genia.
Good evening. Great to have your company for Wednesday's news. The government will look at reopening visa on arrival for Australians arriving in Port Moresby. Despite controversy surrounding the issue, Sports and Tourism Minister Justin Chichenko says it is a move that will encourage the growth of the tourism industry. He says the National Executive Council will have to deliberate on this.
Australians made up 54% of international tourists who travelled to Papua New Guinea. New Tourism Minister Justin Chichenko believes allowing Australians to have visa on arrival will increase this percentage. He says Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has been briefed to relook at allowing visa on arrival for Australians, but they have to get approval from the NEC. This year, the national government has allocated 50 million kina to improve the tourism industry, its products and activities. The industry's focus now is to generate revenue, and they have proposed to charge a fee of 200 kina for all international visitors. The money will then be shared between Tourism Promotion Authority and the Immigration. Milne Bay and East New Britain provinces will be the target of TPA this year.
One of the issues that I will be tackling first up will be training. Training will be the key. My aim and objective is to train in hospitality and tourism 1,000 people this year, 1,000 Papua New Guineans this year.
The minister said this when addressing participants who attended the fourth and final regional workshop review of the TPA Act 1993. The Act has been reviewed by the Draft Constitutional Law Reform Commission since 2014 and will be officially closed on 2nd April for the final bill to be presented to the Parliament.
There are many areas that the current Act lacks, and that is why we have decided to do this consultation so that we can get feedback, we can get comments and review from appropriate stakeholders so that we can review this Act.
The use of this law to the benefit of citizens is far and wide, and our citizens are actually benefiting and gaining from the provisions that are enacted in this law.
Quinten Alom, National EMTV News.
Ati Wobiro can now conduct his duty as the mandated governor for Western Province after a 4-year court battle resulting from an election petition by former Governor Dr. Bob Denaya. The Waigani National Court ruled against the petitioner today. Judge Derek Hartshorn made this decision on the grounds that the facts presented by the petitioner were irrelevant.
Governor Wobiro was relieved inside the courtroom when judge handed down the decision. The allegation by the petitioner, Dr. Denaya, was that during the 2012 general election, Governor Wobiro was seen bribing voters. However, the court heard that on the same date, Wobiro flew with his wife to his village. The court objected the petition, stating that the facts pleaded and relied upon does not support the allegations of bribery. Dr. Denaya also petitioned the Electoral Commission on allegations of errors and omissions in the course of the counting of the votes cast. However, the lawyer representing the Electoral Commission had argued that the facts presented by the lawyer representing Dr. Denaya does not state the relevant number of votes that the winner and the runner-up obtained and the number of votes that were obtained by the winner allegedly through errors and omissions. Governor Wobiro says this court battle and such others arose the need for Electoral Commission to handle petition cases in a manner where it won't stop elected members from doing their job. He said the court battle has prevented him to provide service to his people. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
Documentation for the 7 incomplete police houses at Lay's Bumbu Police Barracks have already been finalised and are awaiting approval from Police Commissioner Gary Baki. ACP for Northern Region Peter Guinness said ACP support services at the police headquarters are waiting for the Commissioner to sign the documents before work can begin.
ACP for Northern Region Peter Guinness said they are awaiting approval from the Police Commissioner Gary Baki before work on incomplete houses at Bumbu Barracks can start. Currently, the Police Commissioner is out of the country and is expected to return in a week's time. These 7 incomplete duplexes are part of the Bumbu Police Barracks housing program in Ley that began in 2012. It cost 2.5 million kina. The project was meant to ease the housing problem faced by the constabulary. The houses were supposed to be completed in the middle of 2014. However, into the 4th year and the 7 duplexes remain incomplete. As part of the ACP for Northern Region Divisional Strategic Plan, housing is on the top of priority list. There are also other incomplete houses and other buildings from different projects which are sponsored by both police and other stakeholders that are not completed. This includes the Regional Training Center. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Ley.
The Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary has come under intense public scrutiny and criticism over the past 5 years due to the increase in police brutality and the breakdown in command and control. While much of the blame has been levelled against the kind of training police officers undergo at the Bomana Police Training College, Police Commissioner Gary Baki has defended the training. Yesterday, EMTV News spent the entire day filming at the Police Training College to give an insight into the kind of training recruits endure every day. Tekla Gunga with tonight's special report.
The Bomana Police Training College is the one center in the country that prepares men and women who have chosen to serve Papua New Guinea as disciplinary officers. Every year, over 250 recruits come here to begin a career in the police force. Recruits begin the day with a morning parade, which starts at 5 a.m. This is coordinated in 4 companies, where each one is required to report to the parade host and account for all its members. This parade can go on for hours until all marching requirements are passed and the parade host satisfied. Between 8 to 10 a.m., recruits undergo theory lessons on law proceedings. Such lessons are designed to enhance individuals' understanding on the Constitution, particularly the Criminal Code.
I would think it's totally different from the previous days. We are in a state of civilian. Now we are totally in different states. We think military, we move military, and we do something which is policing to the community, to the province, to the country as a whole.
Physical training is a core part of the training here, and all recruits are required to run 8 laps in a day. These laps exclude the distance they run from their barracks to the training fields and back. Recruits undergo different exercises to build up their physical strength and mind power. Group work is emphasized here, and individual participation is closely monitored.
And there's small things that we'd like to change. The facelift of the college. That we have the training college guards that is operating, the cleanness of the college, enforcing the college standing orders, which is very important.
What was captured yesterday is just a glimpse on the kind of training and discipline that is required from recruits while training to be police officers. However, once the recruits pass out of Bomana, the decision to uphold and maintain what they learned becomes an individual decision. Takla Gunga, National EMTV News.
It has now been revealed that senior correctional service officers spoke of a food shortage in the Boore prison days before the prison escape happened. It is understood Boore administration stretched its food budget to cater for prisoners in remand as the prison struggled to manage the influx of new inmates. Apart from the shortage of sleeping space, prisoner meals had been reduced to 2 and sometimes 1 meal a day in the days leading up to Thursday's escape. And when we come back, the latest on the sit-in protest at Mount Hagen, Australia's assistance to flood-ravaged Boore province and East New Britain's lack of disaster preparedness. Stay tuned for the details. Welcome back to National MTV News. In news just in, Justice Bernard Sakora has ordered the National Capital District Commission to pay a sum of 17.5 million kina to Yama Security Services. Justice Sakora ruled in favour of defendant and businessman Peter Yama this afternoon at the Waigani National Court. Sakora found that the case has been prolonging because of incompetency by lawyers representing NCDC. Sakora said there is no evidence of invoices for services rendered by Yama Security Services. Therefore, the sum of 17 million kina is to be paid with an interest of 8 million kina that incurred over the years, almost 16 years in the courts. The decision is a relief for businessman Peter Yama, who says he will now think of those that have suffered with him. Mr. Yama told the media he will start from ground zero and build his security business.
Assessment of damages, yeah. So basically the matter relates to the security contract that was entered into sometime back in 1999.
I waited for a long time, and patience and tolerance. I persevere with humility, and I've left all my workforce, almost 2,000, and I've gone back to zero. I need to recoup, and if I have to go back, it'll be good relief for the family and also for the company. We need to restart again and move on.
Doctors, nurses and medical staff of Mount Hagen have started a sit-in protest today. Outpatient service at the hospital is closed and staff scale down has also commenced. However, this will not affect the duty performance, meaning staff will follow their roster and come to work. The sit-in protest will come in full effect next week when the staff produce a full plan on their next course of action.
Doctors here at Mount Hagen Hospital have started their sit-in protest today. They have closed the hospital outpatient. However, the hospital management says it is not responsible for the closing of the outpatient and have advised patients to seek services at the other centers within the city. Highlands Region National Doctors Representative Dr. Yapo says staff will still follow normal work roster. However, doctors have scaled down their workload.
Patients that are being sent away that I know of, all patients are welcome to stay in the ward. All the nurses and doctors have been instructed not to do anything, just routine management of patients like we always do. Those ones who go home, other ones who are ready to go home.
The doctors are concerned about patient care at this level 6 hospital, saying many functions of this hospital has been missing for years.
Manlaya miblai, amamas lo planti ol service this la sick is supposed to give him no sick man. Ikat bamla expectation is stop long public and everywhere, even long law blood is la sick. You got certain standard miblai must perform him. It's the standard and you may not been performing for many years. No.
However, Chief Executive Officer of Hagen Hospital, Dr. James Kintwa, says the only ones taking part in this protest are doctors and not nurses and other staff.
We are still open, but the doctors are not there. That doesn't mean that the nurses are not. The nurses are actually there to see patients. So
he has ruled out the advertisement of a position within the hospital as the main cause of doctors taking this action.
One of the issues that the National Doctors Mount Hagen branch has raised, that's been taken care of by the National Executive of the National Doctors Association. They've come here for a fact-finding trip. They've done that last week, and so that issue is now before them, and it's their prerogative where they want to take it to.
He says other issues raised are before the National Doctors Association. Meanwhile, doctors will still be seeing patients on emergencies and services will be rendered to these patients. Michelle Amba, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
The Australian government has stepped in to fund emergency works on bridges damaged by floods in the northern province. A sum of 1.5 million kina was provided for the Works Department to do remediation works. Works Secretary David Boore and Sohe MP Delilah Gore were part of a team to witness the work. Damaged bridges of greater concern are the Girwa and Kumusi bridges, including Eroro, Ambogo and Siao. 4 new bridges have been designed under the Oro Bridges Reconstruction Project under the PNG Australia Transport Sector Support Program. In recent years, disaster alerts in East New Britain have tested the preparedness of the province to respond to emergency situations, and it has again shed light on the outdated provincial disaster plan. Rabaul is the only district in the province that has begun establishing its own, and it is now calling on the East New Britain provincial government to create one for the province. Edwin Fidelis reports from Kokopo.
This was one of many times the Rabaul District Administration has again called for the establishment of a provincial disaster preparedness and response plan for East New Britain Province. The Rabaul District Administrator, Marakan Uvano, says the province needs a proper disaster plan for volcano and tsunami-prone areas.
At the moment, the province, I don't think it has a disaster plan in place. But what we're going to do in the district is create our own disaster plan for the district.
After numerous attempts to convince the provincial government, the district put its hand up and created its own. It began with a school disaster management plan last year that enabled students and teachers in the district to respond to a disaster. A disaster emergency plan contains plans to evacuate the people, food ration, emergency exit routes and other essentials that are needed in times of disasters.
The cost of coming up with a plan will not cost much. We have the resources here in terms of personnel who can do that one, and we also have some people out there who can do it for us. So we are looking at about 100,000 to come up with this mitigation plan.
It's been a painful experience for those who have lived here. Many rely on their past experiences to anticipate any disaster, something that they have become accustomed to. Now the Rabaul District Administration says it wants to incorporate that in its district's disaster mitigation plan that it will create this year. Rabaul is one of the 4 districts of East New Britain Province that sits near the menacing Tavurvur and Vulcan volcanoes. In 1994, the district fell victim to the twin eruptions that changed the entire development landscape of the district, and to a larger extent, the entire province remains an earthquake, volcano and tsunami-prone region. But questions on the readiness of the entire province and the people to respond to major emergency situations still remain unanswered without a proper disaster preparedness plan. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Still in Kokopo, more than 100 new students have arrived at the University of Natural Resources and Environment last week to begin the 2016 academic year. At the student orientation on Monday, Acting Vice-Chancellor Dr. Samson Laup told the students to take heed of their role in improving the country's agriculture sector. He also announced that the government will support the infrastructural growth of the university to enhance students' learning.
These are some of the 300 students who have entered the University of Natural Resource and Environment this year. They were the first to arrive last week and over the weekend for a fresh start to the 2016 academic year. During the dedication mass on Monday, Acting Vice-Chancellor Dr. Samson Laup explains what the institution expects from the students.
Because we are here and our focus is natural resource, and this country will depend on natural resource for many years to come.
Last year, the university was caught in the middle of a tussle between students and the university's administration. A series of student boycott for over 2 weeks forced the suspension of classes. But Dr. Laup said on Monday that this is now a thing of the past.
Indications are showing that one day this university will be have a reputable global standard and will play a pivotal role in contributing to the sustaining development of Papua New Guinea.
This year marks the start of a new chapter for the Agriculture and Natural Resource University. The university will play host to the 2018 APEC Leadership Summit in the country. Part of the international delegation will use the school facility during their meetings. New infrastructures are expected to be built in the coming months, and other education infrastructure to boost student learning and improve the standard of those who will dedicate their lives to work in the PNG's agriculture and natural resources sector. Edwin Fidelis, National MTV News, Kokopo.
The Morobe provincial government has spent 250,000 kina to buy off land to build a rural station in Komba. Governor Kelly Naru, on behalf of the Provincial Executive Council, made the part payment to the landowners yesterday for land that will cost nearly 2 million kina. Komba was an area hit by last year's 8-month drought. Bethany Harriman reports from Leh.
Yesterday, the Morobe Governor Kelly Naru presented the cheque on behalf of the PEC after the Komba local level government worked with landowners to free up land intended for a station to be built on. The provincial government has taken over land ownership from traditional landowners who have sold land area the size of 12 rugby fields.
The certificate of valuation lists the owners and the clans comprising that area of Satwak 1 and 2 as the Bangut, Ewat and Mungum clans, or Tripla clan.
The Provincial Lands Department has surveyed the portion, and the government is now making an initial payment of 250,000. The land area is valued over 1.9 million kina. Many parts in Komba are struggling with the aftermath of last year's 8 months drought, and when the rains came, pests in the soil attacked kaukau, yam and taro. The Komba Secondary School still needs to be completed. When we took these pictures last year in December, primary school teacher Nemson Mangeyu also needed funding to complete the mess and dormitories for the new secondary school.
We play building. Wapla 4-in-1 classroom, wapla duplex, belong primary school, relocation of primary school, na triple dormitory, na wapla mess hall belong high school now.
Speaking from Komba this afternoon, teacher Nemson Mangeyu said the secondary school's dormitories haven't been completed yet, and that the people of Komba will need at least 10,000 kina to get roofing iron from Leh to Konge, where the secondary school will be built. Mangeyu also explained that the Morobe Governor Kelly Naru made commitments to fund the project, but the money hasn't been paid yet. Bethany Harriman, National MTV News, Leh.
The rural housing project for Alotau district in Milne Bay is continuing. Recently, sheets of roofing iron were delivered to the inland areas of Daga local level government. Alotau MP Charles Abel says the housing scheme is to improve people's standard of living and encourage healthy lifestyles.
Alotau district covers 7 LLGs from the mainland to the islands, inlands of Daga LLG and to the borders of northern and central provinces. A community intervention program currently being implemented is the Rural Housing Scheme, a scheme where the district supplies 10 sheets per household to erect a semi-permanent building. Moving these iron sheets is a challenge for the district, but it has been easy with the use of vessels bought by the district, a transport system helping the housing scheme project.
Building this transport system, and you can see it in action today. Dinghy, boat, jetty, tractor, road, it's all supporting these programs that we are rolling out.
Not only the inland communities are benefiting, outer islands of the district are also seeing changes in more houses being built.
In the community, people are putting up, building the houses, permanent houses. This is the first time.
For the Daga people, a coffee shed is undergoing construction and is said to encourage coffee farming for the Daga communities. With that, the establishment of cooperative societies has been backed by the district through small funding grants.
It's we, the people, that we have to also assist. The minister does his part, and also we people have to do our part.
Similar distribution of iron seats and building materials are progressing in other 6 LLGs of the district.
Before they had no road, no wharf, no shed, no boat, no money for cooperative society, and no free freight. You see the difference? And I even subsidized the coffee price last year to 5 kina, from 4 kina to 5 kina per kilo. Yeah.
Jack Lapava, Junior National, EMTV News.
Communications company B-Mobile Vodafone has introduced unlimited talk time offers for its subscribers. Customers can subscribe to a week, fortnight or month bundle, whichever suits the budget. B-Mobile Vodafone Chief Marketing Officer Parag Panjwani said with the installation of new towers around the country and expansion of the B-Mobile Vodafone services, this new offer was about giving its growing customer base the best value for money.
That is old story. The new stories don't run out of credits. Subscribe once and talk for unlimited minutes on B-Mobile Vodafone.
And now looking at our finance news, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.3280 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.3205 $0.4431 Australian dollars, $0.2917 euro and 36.29 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, copper closed higher while gold, coffee and cocoa closed the day lower. Crude oil also closed lower while palm oil and copper closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 348.58 points higher, the ASX closed at 98.947 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 93.9 points higher. Still to come, US Secretary of State's Women of Courage Award. That story among others when we return. Welcome back to the news. Winnie William, who is part Oran Southern Highlands, has been honoured as a winner of the US Secretary of State's Women of Courage in Papua New Guinea. The international award recognizes women around the world for the contributions in advocating women's rights. Ms. William was recognized for her work in helping victims of sorcery-related violence, at times putting her life in danger to save others. Winnie William is a nurse and manages almost 20 health clinics in Southern Highlands and Hela provinces.
Winnie William is from Southern Highlands Province and manages almost 20 health clinics, 8 post and voluntary care council centres, which provide primary health care and HIV/AIDS services in the unserved remote areas in Southern Highlands and Hela Province. She also helps taking in women and men who are tortured after being accused of being sorcerers. Winnie says that she could have never have imagined receiving such an award for her goodwill.
Most of the women who seek shelter from us are homeless, widows, I could say, and they come from polygamous family. And the torture that they experience is more inhuman, I could say, because they're tortured in a way that you could not imagine a man doing that, because I guess he comes from a mother.
She said that she witnessed people who come in with horrific wounds, not only on their body, but also their genitals. She said that at times people would chase them and even stone her clinic. Her only hope for the future is that people will come to their senses and accusations and tortures would stop.
The horror of seeing the women suffer, especially the physical injuries they had on their bodies, and I could say the genitals, really made me feel that someone has to stand up. Those who are really suffering, because mostly it is in the rural areas, I would be happy to see justice is prevailed for them.
Ambassador Herbert Gray said that since 2007, the U.S. Embassy had given out International Women of Courage Award, and this year's nominee was well deserving of the award. She said Winnie steadfastly placed her own life in danger to save other women from horrific sorcery-related violence.
And I'm so proud to have this day with her and to honor her. Winnie has done so much for her community and for the women of this country, and has shown true courage at personal risk. She also brings expertise, which is recognized by all of us as so essential for this community and to make a difference.
Miss Winnie William is a medical professional and serves as a Catholic Health Secretary for the Diocese of Mendi. She received her degree in general nursing at the School of Nursing in East New Britain Province. She later went on to complete her master's degree. She is a wife and a mother of 3 children. Adelaide Sirox Kari, National EMTV News.
At least 60 nurse trainees from the Asia Pacific Institution of Applied Social, Economic and Technical Studies will undergo medical training overseas. This was announced recently during a recent Memorandum of Understanding in Port Moresby between APSETS and the TAFE College of Queensland.
Asia Pacific Institute of Applied Social, Economic and Technical Studies Managing Director Thomas Piller said through this partnership arrangement, students from APSETS in Papua New Guinea and TAFE Queensland College in Australia will conduct overseas health placements. He said this is because there is a need for quality training in the field of nursing to address increasing health problems in the country. According to College of TAFE Queensland Regional Manager Mark McCarthy, trainee nurses will be attached to existing health facilities in the country.
The reason for that is some of our students know that when they graduate, it may in fact be a benefit to them to have international experience, working in remote places, working with different cultures, working in different settings.
He said they will also board the MVYOM medical ship to provide medical support to rural Papua New Guineans. This health outreach program will target increasing health problems like the high infant mortality deaths, poor diet, nutrition and less age-old care.
In a month's time, I'll be bringing back another team who are the specialists, the ones that are the nurse educators, the content specialists. They're going to sit down with the teachers here and they're going to start working through the curriculum. That's the first step. The next step will be going through the clinical facilities, the equipment, the supplies, the resources. And finally, the last major step is to go to the private and public hospitals and medical centers and make sure that we can arrange those supervised structured placements.
It will be trial for 5 years. Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
Being self-reliant after losing a husband is a painful experience for women who have depended on their partners for support their entire lives. The Widows Association PNG, founded 3 years ago by a widow, Maria Unde, is helping other women like herself to succeed in life. In a small but significant ceremony today, founder of WAPNG, Maria Unde, announced the establishment of the association's headquarters.
Maria Unde, a widow herself, has come a long way from establishing the association from scratch since her husband died in 2012. Left with only a rental property to sustain herself, and with the support of her family, she set out to establish the association. In 2014, the Department of Community Development, Youth and Religion stepped in with a generous donation of 15,000 kina, funds they used to conduct feasibility studies in various provinces, which turned into awareness programs in districts that eventually became registration sites and later widow district offices. Today, Unde announced that she has signed over half of her property, Section 276, Lot 54 along Pitpit Street, North Waigani, over to the association. It is now officially the headquarters for Widows Association PNG.
Without any support from any other except from the community development, they funded us 15,000. And with my families, we have gone this far.
Widows are given spiritual counseling as well as financial literacy training, among other programs, to help them get back on their feet. The Widows Association are working towards creating their own Widows Microbank and have created their personal passbooks.
And most of them, they are illiterate and they don't know how to do banking and all that. And I've got the experience of banking system, so I got to teach them the simple steps to finance.
The association has now established widow district offices in 6 provinces and 16 districts with 2,000 members to date. They plan to reach over 300,000 more members throughout PNG. The widows further appealed for the release of their funds of 250,000 kina they claimed was approved for payment since last year by National Planning Minister Charles Abel and Treasury Minister Patrick Pruach. The funding would be used to establish themselves in 22 provinces and 111 districts in Papua New Guinea. Ati Wobiro, National EMTV News.
Coming up next in Trukai Sports, the Hunters to face Magpies in their first game of the Intra Super Cup. Stay with us for the details.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The PNG Hunters have announced their final 18-men squad to take on the South Logan Magpies in the first round of the 2016 Intra Super Cup season commencing this Sunday. The announcement was made by Hunters coach Michael Murrum after a training session at the National Football Stadium.
Match on Sunday will be the team's first run for the 2016 season, and coach Michael Murrum is pleased to have maintained most of his squad from last year without succumbing to any major injuries.
Yeah, we've done a lot of training, one trial game, and again it's good to see the players finally going and having a go at the other teams now. So yeah, now plenty of training, been good, but now we can't really judge on that. We need to see how we play starting. So yeah.
However, co-captain Adam Koravia won't make the squad for Sunday's match due to match suspension.
Adam Koravia, unfortunately, Adam won't be playing for 2 rounds. But yeah, no, if he's not in the field, then I'll just advise whichever player that can lead the boys around for that 80 minutes or whatever time they're in there. So, but yeah, Noel's going to take charge of the captaincy round 1. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Coach Murrum has been working on player combination from the halves as well as the forwards. And it is something that will continue throughout the rest of the season, as well as a couple of debutants in the squad will also gel in the team. The team will welcome new faces to the side in the likes of Watson Boas, Justin Olam and Philemon Kiviseve. Otherwise, the team maintains most of the squad from last year's season campaign. The team's hooker, Wartovo Puara Jr., will mark his 50th appearance for the Hunters side.
Tovo is probably going to be the first PNG player to represent the team playing 50 games. So played 49 last year. So that's his 50th game, round 1. So yeah, I hope he plays a few more games. Yeah.
Puera will be the first Papua New Guinean to reach that mark when he runs out on the pitch on Sunday. Meanwhile, minor injuries concern for the squad. Captain Noel Zemming not in his 100% in training. For the record, the Hunters have never lost a match against the Magpies, and they are determined to keep that record without underestimating their opponent when they run off the pitch on Sunday. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
James Segeiaro's fallout with certain Papua New Guinea Rugby League officials has been well publicised and is a sensitive topic for the Panthers player. Despite all his arguments, Segeyaro plans to come back to the country to run rugby league programs in schools and communities and to give back to the country.
Segeyaro made the tough decision not to play for Kumuls in 2014 when he learned his father had been disrespected by the country's rugby league officials. Now committed to Australia, Segeyaro says it was strange wearing the green and gold in front of a PNG crowd for the Prime Minister's 13th game in September last year. While Segeyaro may still dislike officials of PNG Rugby League, he still has the desire to come back and run rugby league programs in schools and the community. James Segeiaro's father, Ifiso Segeyaro, is recognized for getting the country's schoolboy football program off the ground and a Kumuls representative in 1982 and 1983. James Segeyaro is determined to walk in his father's footsteps and continue his work. Giving back to PNG is his passion, but for now, Segeiaro's focus remains on his NRL career. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
Netball PNG today announced the inaugural Tri-series between Papua New Guinea, Singapore and a team from the state of Victoria in Australia. To be held from the 5th to the 7th of March in Port Moresby, the Tri-series is a celebration of International Women's Day. Mike Hoyme reports.
To celebrate International Women's Day, Netball PNG will host the inaugural Women's Day Netball Tri-series over the weekend at the Sir John Guy Stadium. The invitation event will see the PNG Peppers host the Singapore national team and the 2015 Victoria State Championship team, Victorian Fury. PNG Netball President Julian Maliaki said this is a great opportunity to get women and girls together to celebrate International Women's Day with such an event.
For this particular series, it coincides with International Women's Day, which is very important and a significant occasion, and we would like to give rise to that in PNG. International Women's Day has been recognized as an important part of our women's celebrations right throughout the world. But more importantly, we'd like to get it recognized through sports, and it is very critical for netball given that we are the largest participating women's sport in the country.
WaterAid PNG has come on board to support this Tri-series, which is a great initiative of Netball PNG, which is funded by the Australian government.
We've partnered with PNG Netball to try and deliver that message to more people, and using the strength of sport and the connections that sport brings to get that message across. So we have an exciting program that we developed last weekend in Netball PNG's strategic planning workshop for the coming years, and we look forward to, I guess, working with Netball PNG more closely going forward.
The initiative is a partnership to improve grassroots sports participation, access to safe water, sanitation and hygiene information, and participation and leadership of women and girls. Mai Koime, National EMTV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The Pacific Games set the foundation for world-class facilities in Papua New Guinea, and only minor renovations and alterations need to be done for the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. These comments were made by Minister for Sports Justin Chichenko when queried about the government's sense of urgency to complete facilities. Chichenko said the government is committed to showcasing Papua New Guinea to the world in November.
Earlier, there had been much skepticism regarding Papua New Guinea's readiness and credentials to host such an event. In late February, head of FIFA's medical team, Professor Jerzy Wojciak, had stated that he would be placing good recommendations back in FIFA headquarters in Zurich, and that statement itself had given a much-needed boost of confidence to the country. With the comments made by Chichenko, that further reiterates the commitment that had been made by the national government to the local organizing committee for the World Cup.
20 million kina that the government's putting with the 10 million from FIFA, we are upgrading all our facilities to an international level where we will be able to host and play any international game into the future as well for soccer, rugby, league, what have you. So it's giving us that level of international accreditation.
And in terms of PNG squad preparations, head coach Lisa Cole has said that the squad is hoping to travel in May in crucial warm-up matches as she hopes to create a competitive squad for the event.
Well, they're going pretty well. I mean, we've had some starts and stops with the way the sessions have been organized without having a physio in camp, but we've been pretty impressed with the effort the girls again have put in, and we think that we're getting a lot of the issues that come up with putting together a big program like this sorted out, and we hope to be off and running here soon.
Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports.
The PNG Games is without a doubt one of the most significant of our local sporting events. It provides an ideal avenue to showcase raw sporting talent from within rural areas of the country, creating a platform for exposure and development. An impressive amount of athletes who represented Team PNG during the 2015 Pacific Games was scouted directly from the 6th PNG Games in Lae Morobe in 2014.
The biannual event provides a solid foundation for athletes to launch their sporting careers, providing both an avenue for exposure and development. A classic example being toy whistle. PNG's current sprint queen, who reigns from the Jawaka province, is the most notable product of the PNG Games.
So the PNG Games is the key to the door when it comes to identifying sporting talent in our country and taking it to the next level. Toya Whistle is just one classic example. She just won, I just saw her on YouTube, she's just beaten all the Australians recently at an event in Queensland. With that, it just shows you what can be achieved once you find somebody that's got this natural talent and then develop their talent to get to where they are today.
Chochenko, who has been the most vocal advocate of sports development in the country through the obvious infrastructural developments and supporting and driving the need of the high-performance division, a massive contributor to the country's current sporting success, has also classified these games as one of the biggest and most important events.
PNG Games are really the most important games that Papua New Guinea can ever host. And it's one of the biggest games that Papua New Guinea ever hosts when it comes to a sporting event. You're talking 10,000 plus people coming to these events and participating in all different sporting codes.
The social impacts are also a contributing factor to why there is a lot of emphasis on these games. The PNG Games is one of the only events that bring the country together.
By bringing everybody together in the name of sport in our country and bringing all the provinces together.
The Games also provide centres outside of Port Moresby with the opportunity of development in terms of sporting infrastructure. Kimbe, for example, a small town in the West New Britain province, will see long-awaited developments in the township for the PNG Games. But the opportunities that these developments will bring to the shores of the West New Britain province will be far greater than just the hosting of the 7th PNG Games. School-based rugby development program Get Into Rugby has received an overwhelming response so far since the launching in schools along the Motuan and Arama coastline in the Central Province, West New Britain Province and the autonomous region of Bougainville. With mass participation figures exceeding 20,000, Papua New Guinea remains the largest union in the Oceania region with the most number of participants. For a Tier 3 union under World Rugby, PNG's ranking as #1 in the region in terms of mass participation is a positive sign with regard to the growth of Rugby Union. But maintaining that status and exceeding the current figure of about 20,000 participants is something Silosi Druma must achieve.
We want to, in line with our strat plan, which is to increase mass participation and also increase visibility. Our code is always second fiddle to some sports, but this time around we really want to get ourselves out there in the provinces, especially those ones that don't play rugby union. Increase mass participation and increase visibility of our code.
With the support and backing of World Rugby through their rugby development component, Druma recently visited schools in the West New Britain province and the autonomous region of Bougainville. AROB are no stranger to the code of Rugby Union. Since the inception of the Black Orchids and support through the AROB Rugby Union, the code has seen immense growth over the past years. However, towns like Kimbe, who have seen very little effort in further developing rugby, was well receptive of the development program and initiative to be introduced in schools throughout the province.
The teachers were very excited about the program. Some have never played rugby union before. There was a lady that represented a school. It was the first time for her to do the line-outs and scrums. She was really excited. The other three schools, some of them have got background in rugby league. But overall, the feedback's been really good. They're all looking forward to kickstart the program, which is to start this month. So we hopefully to see figures from West New Britain Rugby Union through the school program.
What the PNG RFU aim on doing in the long run is achieving a higher number of participation, and with the current pathway into the national side through the Rugby Championships and National 7 Series, there is hope for school-based rugby competitions, similar to that of the schoolboys rugby league competition. Trukai Sports ends there. The weather details when we come back.
Trukai Sports.
Now looking at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region, a shower or two for Port Moresby and Kerema, and mostly fine for Daru, Alotau and Popondetta. Before we go, recapping our main stories for tonight. Government to reconsider visa on arrival for Australians to boost tourism. Court rules Ati Wobiro is Western Province Governor and Winnie William wins Women of Courage Award. And that's the news, sports and weather for tonight, Wednesday the 2nd of March 2016. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Lorraine Genia. Pleasant viewing. Good night.